Hello, hi, how are you? And welcome to another podcast by George. And I'm with my tribe. I'm with my hockey tribe.
They're boys.
Yeah, I'm with the, I don't know if you call them the captain and co-captain of the red team, the men's league hockey team here. We got the McDougal boys in the house, McDougal brothers. And if you were listening to a podcast by George earlier, there's a episode called Mow the Lawn. And I mentioned a couple of guys that are killing it mowing lawns. They got a business here in town, and they're great hockey players. Well, these are the two guys. These are the guys that I was talking about, Tanner and Mason McDougal. So, Tanner, talk a little bit so people can tell you from your brother. I got it so they can identify the voice. Yeah. So, introduce yourself there a little bit.
I'm Tanner McDougal. I'm the older brother.
How much older are you?
14 months.
Yeah, we're 14 months apart.
14 months apart.
And how old are you? I want people to know the difference here between
25.
You're 25.
And Mason's 24.
Yeah.
Turned 24 in September, so he's July, so we have 14 months.
I'm I'm almost 3 times as old as you guys. I'm old enough to be your grandfather, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My grandparents are way older, though.
Yeah.
So that's good for you.
And you're 2 times better than me, maybe 3 times better when it comes to being hockey players.
Well, not even.
Oh, yeah. Well, if people can they want to get a handle on this, if they know hockey, Tanner's the forward. He's the dingle-dangle guy out there that scores the goals for us. And Mason's kind of the nifty little defenseman back there that gets everything organized.
The guy that doesn't score very often.
Yeah, but gets the puck up front so that we can score. And we won this men's league thing a few years ago.
Oh, more than a few. It was about 5 years.
Yeah, we've been in a drought.
Yeah, it's just everyone's gotten so much better here in Des Moines. I just think the talent just keeps getting better and better, and the guys coming in, and
I tell people that, and I might be the best bellwether of that. I've been playing men's league hockey here in Des Moines for 20 plus years. This is the best team maybe that I've ever played on, and we have a hell of a hard time winning the game.
We've won 2 games this whole season.
And I mean, you guys are good.
Yeah, we have a problem with people showing up.
Yeah.
Seems like,
Yeah, a depleted roster is a little bit of a problem. You got 2 guys on the bench, and the other team has.
It's kind of funny. We have about 14 people on a roster, and we have about 6 to 8 guys that show up on a weekly basis. So that makes it a little tougher.
And I am so gassed sometimes. My God, you guys can keep on going, but man, I can't. We got to have a bench.
That's the other thing. We have a couple older guys. We've got Rob, and then you, of course, and Logan's. He's not old. I guess he's kind of older. He's probably upper 20s, maybe early 30s, but
newer to hockey. So
yeah, that as well. So
we got the first half of the season in the books, pretty much, and
man, that flew by.
Yeah, and we need to work on a little for second half. We got anything coming second half? I mean, do you think we can turn it around here?
Oh yeah, I'm sure we can. It just it all depends. I mean, just depends on people showing up and. See if we can get some more players or whatnot. So we'll see what happens.
The other thing is if we can call in a ringer with Hot Cherik. So
yeah, we might bring him on. He was on a Hockey Joe podcast by George, number 33, I think it is. If you look it up, you want to listen to it. That's a pro hockey player that's back here in town. He's kind of a free agent, so. Yeah, if we can get him on the team, I think our fortunes will improve. I think maybe we'll turn this thing around. Maybe we can come on strong and win it in the playoffs. I hope so.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Yep, we're playing for fun, and we're playing to win too. So we'll see what happens.
You know, I've got enough of these podcasts in the can that we can talk about some of the past ones. One of the early ones was another teammate, Brody France. He was on here. Brody's on the same team, and he's churning away too. We're trying to get this thing turned around. I hope that we can. The Red Wings are doing a little bit better. You guys are Blackhawks fans.
Well,
Tanner's all over the board.
I'm all over the board. I love good hockey.
Yeah.
So and growing up in Des Moines, you can't really have a certain team. I mean, you got Minnesota right above us, then you got St. Louis down below us, then we got the Blackhawks right next to us, and Colorado's not too far either.
Yeah, everybody's going to Colorado these days. Why is that? It's just a 10-hour straight drive out there. I know everybody's got a lot of interest in Colorado. What do they got going on out there?
Some laws they changed, I think, or something.
I think that might be it.
Yeah, I think so. It's going to make everybody a big fan. It's going to do a lot for Colorado. I think it already has economically. I mean, they're getting a lot of tourism business. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah.
Once the Vegas Golden Knights came into the league, I kind of decided before the season I was going to follow him or whatever. So I ended up going to Vegas with a couple buddies, and we ended up going out to a game. And the atmosphere was unlike anything I'd ever been. Like everyone's pretty drunk, and it's Vegas. The 50-50 splits up to like $20,000 and
right.
stuff because everyone's out there to
different.
gamble. And everyone's out there having a good time. And they played the Tampa Bay Lightning last year, and the Knights were number 2, and the Lightning were number 1. And they went out and scored with like 3 or 4 seconds left in the third period and won the game. So it was nuts. It was an awesome experience. And then last year we also went to a St. Louis Blues versus Golden Knights game too, as well, down at Scott Trade Center.
Yeah,
that was a good time. We took my dad out to his first NHL game. So.
Really? That was his first?
Yep, he'd never been.
Wow.
So he never really was a hockey guy until we start. Well, he got us on it, and so he didn't really pay attention to it all that much until we started going. So he never made it out till last year. We took him for Christmas, for his Christmas present or whatever. So that was a good experience for all of us.
Yeah, and that's interesting to me also because you guys kind of grew up in the shadow of the ice arena there in Des Moines. You grew up playing hockey as kids, played high school hockey. There was none of that when I was young. I mean, it was, your 3 sports. We played football, basketball, and baseball. I mean, nobody knew anything about hockey. We went in town and watched it, but we didn't play, and you guys did. And Tanner, you and I have talked before about the high school and the Oak Leaves, and you went and played a little bit for the Iowa State team. And
yeah, I played juniors for a year as well.
Yeah.
So that was fun out in Ohio. And
so when did you decide you were a men's league hockey player and a teammate of George as opposed to a junior player? Or, how does that decision made?
Pretty much right after juniors, when hockey wasn't really serious for me at Iowa State. I was playing on the D3 team, and we're in college, so we're all having a good time. It's more about having a good time and playing with your buddies, and that's when I kind of knew I'm pretty much done playing competitive hockey. And if I'm gonna play competitive hockey, it's gonna just be for fun.
Yeah. No major injuries?
No, not. Let's see. I pulled my pectoral once in a high school game. They had no broken bones.
Oh, that's cool.
I was also fortunate. I've never broke a bone in my life.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
With like doing skateboarding, and we were doing rollerblading and all that stuff, playing hockey, and none of us had broke a bone. Even in high school, same way with him.
Now you get old, I broke bones playing men's league. I fractured a knee. I broke a finger. I broke a toe. And I'm just old and slow, and I can't get out of the way. And down goes Frazier. Mason, you didn't. So you stayed home. You didn't.
So I went to when Tanner was in juniors out in Ohio, I was finishing up my senior year. And so once I finished my senior year, Tanner was also done playing his junior year or his junior hockey career or whatever. And so we went to DMAC together, and we started the same year. So we kind of were on the same pace. We kind of took classes together, me and one of my other buddies too. And so we did 2 years at DMAC, and then he went off to Iowa State, and I went up to Iowa. So
yeah. Well, and again, these guys are the linchpins of my men's league team. I'm dependent upon them. The other thing that's noteworthy about Mason, I want to bring this up because I got to mention this on every podcast when these guys come on. Mason played in that ALS fundraiser game that we had at Wells Fargo Arena. That fundraiser for my sister, who you've heard about on podcast by George, that was stricken, her life taken away by ALS. And that was a great thing for me, a big deal in my life. And I will always appreciate that. I'll never forget it, Mason.
Yeah,
so again,
it was an honor to play in it. There was a bunch of great guys that came out. There was good skill too, and it was all for a good cause too. So it was a great time.
Thanks so much. Do you guys see yourself playing into your old age like me? I mean, when you look at me as a player, you think, "My God, I don't want to be like that when I'm older."
Yeah, I love hockey. And you've seen me out every pay and play since I've been 16. So you know how much I love the game, and I just can't see myself quitting anytime soon. Some of these guys that we used to play with, they don't really care too much about hockey anymore. But me and Mason, we'll probably never.
Yeah, I know some guys that have quit hockey, and they're like, "Yeah, I just haven't played since high school." I just don't understand how you could play every day and then just go into straight up not playing at all, and how you can just quit like that. But I guess everyone's different. So.
Well, you don't look like the kind of guys that are going to get fat. That's got a lot to do with it. I mean, when you get too fat to tie your skates, game over. I mean, you can't play if you can't lace them up. So, and that's what happens with a lot of guys.
I mean, we play. Well, last year we were playing in A League, B League, and roller. So we're playing 3 times a week. Plus, if we can pay and play or 2 breakfast hockey, we got 5 times a week or something like that. So, kind of hard to get fat when you're skating. I don't know. 5 times a week.
I'm envious. If I was as good as you guys are, I'd never take my skates off. I don't think I'd ever leave the rink. I mean, you guys are great hockey players, And then this lawn mowing business thing that you guys have got going on, my God, I mean, that is really, you work hard, I would never understate that. And you're out there working long hours in the summer, but it's a seasonal business, right? I mean,
yeah, it seems like the seasons are getting longer and longer. It starts in early April, sometimes late May. And then it goes clear. We've mowed in December before. I mowed in the snow before. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
Not like snow on the ground, but the snow was coming down. Like we were still going. It was kind of crazy. But yeah, it's about 8 months of the year on average-ish, like maybe 9.
Yeah.
And then we never did snow because Tanner and I were both in college and stuff. So we couldn't go because we had classes and stuff. And I was in Iowa City and he was in Ames. So last year we did snow for the first time, and we got about 8 or 9 snows that were pretty decent. We made some decent money off of it, which was it was
made all of our money back for the equipment
we bought all the equipment.
But
it was a good learning experience. The hours are terrible, and it's hard to find help because people have jobs and crazy hours.
Yeah.
But, it was a learning experience. We made some money, so
yeah, and it's a family thing, right?
Yeah, it's my dad, my brother, and I, and we started it when we were 14
you gotta
years
love it.
old. So.
It's great. Is it growing? I mean, is it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
how do you grow it? Is it word of mouth, advertising? How do you make
word of mouth? A little bit of advertising. We subcontract with a company, A Plus Lawn Care. They're a pretty big help out to us. It's just all those things combined.
I'll switch gears here a little bit. I want to get this in because this is interesting to me. This is more for Tanner, but one of the great things about playing summer hockey in particular is the pros and the college players and the junior guys are all back, and you never know who you're going to end up on the bench next to. And I've skated with Kyle Okposo. He's now a standout hockey player with the Buffalo Sabres, of course. And one summer I'm sitting on the bench next to Toby Peterson. That name to the diehard hockey people probably means something. He was with the Iowa organization with the Dallas Stars. Parent. Matter of fact, he played in the National Hockey League. And I'm sitting on the bench and getting ready to go back to work. This is when I was working, and I had to be back, pretty soon. And the clock wasn't working in the arena. I didn't know what time it was. And nobody wears a watch when they play, and everybody's, what time is it? What time is it? What time is it? And some guys are trying to guess at the time. I think it's about 1 o'clock or something like that. And some guy says, yeah, it's got to be about 1. And this Toby Peterson, this pro hockey player, sitting down there, and he says, it's 1:07. And I had to laugh out loud, and I said, well, what the hell do you mean it's 1:07? I mean, why isn't it 1:08 or what? How do you know that it's 1:07 exactly? And the dude pulls up his jersey, and he's got this box strapped to his belly. I'm like, and it's got a digital readout on it. Now, what the hell is that thing? What is that, Toby? He says it's a insulin pump. He says, I'm a diabetic. What, you got to wear that? He says, yeah, all the time. I says, what happens if you don't wear it? He says, I die. And Tanner, you know what that is.
Yeah, it's an insulin pump. I'm actually a type 1 diabetic too, so yeah, I know all about that. But you can take it off for an hour or two and you'll be fine, especially if you're working out.
It's got the time on it?
But yeah, it's got the time on it and everything, yeah.
But so what's it like playing as a diabetic? I mean,
let's see, when I first got diabetes, I was a senior in high school. And so I was planning to try out for a junior team my senior year. And I right before it, I got diabetes, and I lost about 10 pounds right before the tryout. Ended up not having a great tryout, and the coach told me that I need to put on some weight. I was like, yeah, I probably do. But so at first I was taking insulin shots with like a kind of a pen little thing.
Did you stick yourself in the belly with those?
Yeah,
I saw a guy do that
or in the thigh or the butt or whatever.
Yeah.
Butt cheek. Yeah. But so I was doing that for a while, and then along comes the insulin pump, which is what you were referring to on the fella that you were playing with.
Yeah.
And the insulin pump is it just gives you insulin all the time throughout the day. So that's why he has to have this time on, because it gives him a shot every hour. So you got to have the timing on that. But then playing with it's not too bad, honestly. You don't really notice it, and maybe my first couple of years I noticed it. I was a little bit slower than I had been in the past. And But then once I started getting my insulin shots down and getting my blood sugar regulated, I was playing just fine, just like nothing else ever.
Yeah, but if it's screwed up, you get weak, you get tired, you get dizzy. What happens?
If your blood sugar goes high, I mean, you can get really weak and you feel like crap. I mean, you're a little shaky. Your hands start moving, and you feel really weak. You feel like you can't do anything.
Not good for hockey.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and high blood sugars don't feel too great either. They're not as bad as low blood sugars. High blood sugars just kind of makes you feel a little woozy, I guess. It makes you dehydrated. But if you got your blood sugars on point, you'll be all right.
Okay, so low blood sugars, that's when guys eat a candy bar or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you do with high blood sugars, though?
That's when you need insulin, and that's where the pump comes into play, and you can give yourself extra insulin if you need it or not, and so that's what I've been up to.
Well, old age is hard to play with, but I would think that would be hard to play with too. I don't know. I mean,
oh no, that's not too bad. I mean, it's not as bad as you would think.
Are there a lot of guys that have that?
5% of diabetics are type 1 diabetics.
What's the difference?
Type 2 diabetes, it's for people
develop. I think this is from what I understand. You can develop type 2 diabetes, and you can get rid of it, I believe.
If you just eat healthy. It's for larger people.
A lot of people that are overweight get it. So
I see.
Poor diet.
Yeah, poor diet and it's that kind of thing. But type 1 is
some doctor's gonna listen to this and be like, you guys are so wrong. You guys are just making stuff up.
Yeah, please consult your doctor.
No.
No.
I've been to the doctor
I gotta believe
so
Tanner
much
knows
I
what
should
he's
know.
talking about. Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it.
All right. So onward and upward with the red team. Blackhawks are out. You guys play fantasy hockey, right?
I do.
Yeah, you play. So, and how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I've got a winning record. I think I got like 5-3 right now.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Who are you in a league with?
I don't even know. Jarrett Kroll and.
I mean, local guys.
I think it's
around
local
the
guys.
country, or
I think it's local guys from like the D League. I don't really know many people from there.
Sean Peterson's
Sean Peterson
and Scott Flounders, I think is his name.
So you just do it for fun, or is there money involved in this, or what? Yeah.
First time I ever played fantasy hockey, I won the whole thing, and I never got paid, so I never played again.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I was like, I don't want to play all year and try.
Yeah.
And no one ended up paying, so
yeah.
So then I quit.
All right. Well, these podcasts always last, and I'm looking here at my little tickle meter. I mean, we're about 20 minutes in. 25 minutes is about how long the podcast lasts. And so we're just about at our time limit. Is there anything I didn't ask you guys about that you wanted to bring?
How you got into hockey?
Yeah, that's interesting from this perspective. The largest growth in where we play is in old guy hockey. It's in men's league hockey. When I started 20 years ago, there was one league. Now there's 4, or more than 4 maybe, of these adult leagues. It's an explosion in hockey. A lot of it is just like how I got started. Big fan, liked it, watched it on TV ever since I was a little kid. I watched Bobby Orr play on television. That's how far back I go. I saw, and a lot of this had to do with when I was in broadcasting too, but I saw Wayne Gretzky play in the Stanley Cup playoffs in Chicago. I saw Mario Lemieux play. So, I saw the greats, and I was a big fan. But I never played as a kid growing up except on farm ponds and that type of thing. And then my son was a big rollerblader. I mean, he was really good at it as a kid. I mean, he got a set of rollerblades, and and I thought, well, this kid could probably play hockey. So I got him going in hockey. And that's what got me into it, actually. I mean, okay, I'll play with him. And so, and oddly enough, he kind of gave it up, and I kind of kept going. So here I am 20-some years later. And the way that I put it to people is, if you watch a guy like me that didn't really play until he was almost 40 years old, and is, well into my 30s before I actually played hockey, it's very similar to if you watch a guy that rides a bicycle, and he rode it as a kid, he'll always look like a bicycle rider. I mean, you can tell that guy's ridden a bicycle before. But if you don't take up riding a bicycle till you're almost 40 years old, and you play it every day, or you ride that bike every day for 20 years, you're never going to look like a bike rider. I don't know what it is, but there's something that you learn in the muscle memory or the motion 100%. Or the movement or something as a kid. You can come back to it even, and you can re-grasp it. You can get it again, But if you're old, you're always going to be kind of a cobbled up, patched up, kind of a self-taught. Yeah, you can get out there and hack it around a little bit, but there's nothing natural about it, and that's my game. So, all right, at 25 minutes, that's right where we're at. That's how these things hit. So that's 25 minutes and 3 seconds, according to my little timer clock.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, there we go. So I want to thank our guests today, Tanner and Mason McDougall, and that's another podcast by George.
Yep, thanks for having us.
Thanks, George.